Hi everyone, I'm Oliver from lenses.com, and have you seen After Earth movie already? Alright, the movie itself could be better, yes, but the BFX were pretty nice in my opinion at least. One of them actually caught my eye, and it was this kind of map formed of a lot of little metal pieces that move up and down to represent a surface. So I arrived home, started to make some tests, and finally decided to create a tutorial on how to achieve that effect using Blender. And well, here it is. In it, we'll see how to create the mountain surface, use the shrink wrap modifier to make a plane adapt to them, and then we go for the duplicates, to place a metallic cube on each vertex of that surface. And well, enough talking, let's go for it. So here we are in Blender, and now we need to go ahead and start by the first step, of course, which is creating the mountains. And I'm going to show you two different methods to create mountains. One of them is kind of the usual way you can use to create mountains, and the other one is like a little, using the imagination, we can use unexpected tools to create something for us. So I start by deleting the cube. The upper cube we always delete it, and we create a plane. The first thing is to go to the edit mode, press W, and subdivide this a couple of times. Here you can go ahead and add like 8 divisions, right? Even make this bigger. And now I can just go here and apply a subdivision surface, and we're going to tweak this later. Now, after the subsurface modifier, we just apply a displacement modifier. And here I'm going to create a new texture. Let's call it displace. All right. Now I go to the textures panel, and here from the list I take the displace, right, which is a cloud, and we can increase the size. And here you can see how suddenly we have got some protuberances on the floor, right, on the plane, let's say. Now here we can tweak where the base of the displacement is. I like it to be on 0, all right, but let's actually put it on something like this. Okay, so it's aligned with the floor of the scene, and by increasing the strength or decreasing it, the displacement has more or less effect. So let's do something like this probably. And now what I want to do is to, instead of using a Catmull-Clark subsurface division, I'm going to use a simple one. So everything is squared. And we can increase this. Let's go again to these clouds and increase here the depth, so we've got more detail. Something like that. And try with a hard noise, right? This looks pretty nice. Okay. Can increase these divisions even more. Okay, so here we have something like, looking a little rocky. Okay, and we can actually go and keep tweaking this. We can change the algorithm we use to create this noise. So this looks like a lot. There is some very rigid parts here, like valleys. We can imagine the rivers go on here, right? But let's try with other. Wow, I didn't know this one. It's great. This could be used for cities or something like that. It's nice, right? Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, we can get some different results. And let's try them. This is a lot. Oh, 1, maybe 0.5. Okay, so this looks good for me. Looks pretty good. And keep in mind that if we wanted to keep adding more, like more detail to the mountains, we could always go ahead and apply another displace. All right. Now here I probably want it to be working on the Z direction, but keep in mind that as this is a plane, it's like a projection, all right, because it's not a curved surface, but so everything is going to be applied on the normals of it, and as it's plane, we have from the normal direction, we have the same effect that in the Z direction, right? But well, now I'm going to show you a different way of creating mountains that I've used a couple of times, and it's not the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of creating mountains, but let's apply an ocean modifier. And yeah, with the ocean modifier, you can as well create mountains. So we've got a plane like that. And now we can, play with these values until we get something that we like better. We can increase the scale, decrease the choppiness. Maybe we can play with this a little bit, increase the resolution. And as you can see, we get something also pretty looking like mountains. And let's just play with it a little more. So yeah, with this we could have a nice base to create our mountains. So as you can see, sometimes it's just about thinking and being creative on how to create things, because usually there is no mountain tool. You have a lot of ways of creating mountains, and before using these methods, I always took a plane, moved some vertices, and then sculpt with a texture. So I got something similar to these ones, but well, in this case I'm going ahead with this one, and I think I can even make it larger, even more. Okay, and we can even maybe unwrap it and probably apply it to the UVs, right? So we get something more as we want it. Let's go to the UV editor here. Let's go here and make it probably bigger. Actually, let's watch this on the edit mode here, so we can see the effect. As you can see, if we pick a smaller part of the texture, the mountains are smaller, but here we got like much more detail. So this is what I want. I have this surface. Let's smooth it out and maybe decrease the strength a little bit. Okay, something like that. And now what I can do is to apply the subsurf, apply this place, and now this is my mesh. So I can go ahead, take the sculpt mode, pick the grab tool with F, and dragging the cursor, I can increase the size of the brush. Left click to accept. Now I can just move up and down to tweak it a little, right, to give a more organic look to it and more variation. So yeah, I think that for giving you an example, this is more than enough. So yeah, now you can create your own mountains and you can spend more time to get more interesting results. But for this example, I think this would be more than enough. So let's go back to the object mode. And now let's create the surface that will adapt to this one. All right, so first I select this one. Let's go to the object panel and call it mountains. So later when we need to pick this object from the list, we know that this is its name. So let's go to create that surface. I'm going to also move these mountains to the second layer, all right, with M, and we press in the second layer with shift and left click here, we show it up, all right. And I want to actually press shift S and move it selection to cursor, which is in the center. So we are right there. And move it down. The reason I select to move it down is because now I'm going to create the plane and I want you to see what's going on. So I create the plane and I pick the area that I want the plane to be projected on. Something like that, like more or less covering the grid. All right, there we have it. And what I want to do with this is to go ahead to the edit mode, press W, subdivide a couple of times, like 8, for example. And let's go here and also apply a subdivision surface. And here is very important that we pick the simple type of subdivision, because later we are going to create the metallic cubes in this surface, and we need them as they are squared when we watch them from the top. We need them to, to have an exact coincidence ones with the other ones. So if we have Catmull-Clark divisions, this is kind of smooth out and they will be intersecting or something, and the grid we are creating here won't be perfect. All right, so we need it to be simple. And for now, let's go ahead with one subdivision, and later we will see how it looks. So after this, we create another modifier, and this one will be shrink wrap. Now, as the target for the shrink wrap, we want to apply the mountains. And now, as you can see, let's watch it from the top. This looks pretty awful. This is because the plane is being projected into it, having in account the closest surface point, which we can control here. So instead of this, I want it to be projected, and I want it to be projected on the Z axis. Now, as you can see, it's not being projected. It only will project if I put it down. I made this on purpose so I can show you this. So this is what will happen. At this point, if there are parts that are under the pivot point of this object, you would need to activate the negative part, right? If only the negative part is being applied, only the parts that are negative under the pivot point, the origin of this plane, will be projected, and in positive, just the opposite. So if we have it in the middle, we should probably activate both of them. In this case, as the pivot point will be up here in the center, like selection to cursor, I only need negative, all right? So now let's see how this looks like. Let's go to the object and press X-ray, so we always see this one on the top. And you can see that as we move this, that plane adapts to the surface. And that is what happens when there is no surface to adapt to. So as you can see, let's also activate the wireframe so we can see it even better. There you have it. So it's pretty nice. Nice. Okay, this one, we need to move it forward to the first layer with M and click in the first layer, right? Because in the second layer, we only want this surface. So then we can just, hide it, and that's it. So let's, now that I explained it, let's pick everything and move it like here, for example, so that mountains are where they are supposed to. All right, now let's go for the last step, which is create the metallic cubes. And I'm going to go to the top view and just create a cube. There's a cube. Let's actually deactivate the wireframe and the S-ray for that surface. And now let's go to the edit mode, go to the front view, and we are going to go to the wireframe with set, select these ones with B and boss selection, and move them down. We need this to be quite tall. And now with this selected, we press Shift, select the surface, and press Ctrl P and move it to the object. So now this object is the parent of the cube, which means that we can go to the object panel, and here in duplication, we can pick birds. So this basically will make the you know, the cube to be duplicated in every vertex of this mesh. Now we are having a little issue, and is that they are being displaced because the origin of this mesh is up here, while this cube is here, down here. So this is an offset that this is duplicating here, all right? So what we need to do is we have two options. We can go ahead and move this origin to this point, which is what I want to do. Selection to cursor, all right? And this actually move it as well to the cursor, right? But now this one here is happening what I told you before, so we need to turn it into positive, right? So yeah, that was a failure of mine, because to explain you that positive and negative thing, I messed this up. But yeah, keep in mind that the object that you want to duplicate in the vertex of the other object, they need to have the origin in the same position, otherwise there will be some offset. So now we select this cube and we press set, so we see what's happening, and we can see a lot of intersections here. So we can just scale the cube down, and basically now you can see what's going on. If we move the mountains, you can see how the cubes adapt to the surface, which is pretty nice. But now what I actually want to do is to select this surface and go ahead and divide it once more. And now just select the cube and make it a little smaller until they don't collide. Like this, for example. Keep a little distance between them, because if they are like this, then when we make this reflective, this will be like you know, a very planar surface and won't have the detail that will give a lot of life to the scene. So if we keep some little distance, something really slight, subtle, here we will have some little shadows that will, you know, improve the aspect of the scene. All right, so we have this. Now we could actually go ahead, press slash or dash. I don't know how it's called. I think it's slash, dash. Well, whatever. This symbol in the numpad, which is like this. Okay. All right, so that symbol, when you press it, it isolates the object you have selected, so you can work on that one, and you can see that here you have the local view, which means that all the rest of the objects are not in the way while you are working with this. So to give some more detail to the scene, I'm going to select these edges, and I'm actually also select these ones. Press U, bevel, and just bevel them a little. And now let's go to the face mode and delete this one, because it's an angle that will be duplicated in the scene a lot of times, so we can get rid of it because we will never see it in the scene. And now here we can just extrude this, scale it down, which would be the same as pressing, I think is I, and doing an inset is exactly the same. But well, I just got used to do that before the inset option appeared. So yeah, so now we can have a little bit of, you know, details here. So now if we press dash or slash again, we can go to here and we can see that this already looks a little different. Well, so I just recorded this little part that I'm going to put together into the middle of the video, because I think it's something really important if you really don't have a very powerful computer. So in this case, with this amount of cubes, I already have like you know, a slow moving camera, right? Because it's a very heavy scene. So what you can do in this case is just to select the cube. Okay, go to the object panel and make sure that here, instead of textured, you pick the bounce mode. All right, so now with the bounce, you are only watching like the boundary box of this object, and this allows you to move a lot faster through the scene And well, you can also see the effect. Okay, not so, you know, detailed, but well, at least you can work a lot better in the scene, and when you render, it will look as normal, right? As you can see here, when I'm rendering, it looks as expected, not the boundary box. So it's just you know, one of the ways to increase the performance into the viewport. So I think it was useful, and I decided to cut this and insert this video in the middle of the tutorial so you can use it already. All right. And we can also try, let me save this before, but we can also try to go ahead and even increase once more the amount of cubes. And my view is already going slow. You can see that we have a lot of intersections. We can make this smaller, something like this. All right. And here we have our mountains adapting to the surface. Now, keep in mind that here at some points we are seeing the surface that has the shear wap adapting to the surface of the mountains, but it doesn't matter because that mesh won't be seen in the render time, right? We are only watching it here in the viewport. So now if we go here, we can just try it out, and yeah, looks like it's working perfectly. There we have it. Now, keep in mind that I made it with mountains because it's the effect that I watched in the movie, but you can actually use whatever you want, all right? If you, for example, want to add a face, or let's say a monkey, let's do it very quickly. We can add a monkey here, all right, and even apply a subdivision surface. And let's pick this surface, and instead of mountains, let's put Suzanne. And let's go to positive. All right, so now I can just select Suzanne, which is here. And oh man, okay, just close that one. So I can pick Suzanne, and as you can see, as I move it, the mesh is adapting to it. Okay, of course, if we would need to go ahead and hide this later, like that. All right, but as you can see, we can use any object we want to take this kind of effect, like you know, a face, or we can use a video of us like singing or whatever, and putting on the background displacing a plane with our face, and use this as the typical pin effect. All right, so I may probably do a tutorial on that soon because I just had that idea, and I think that it could be useful for some of you. So yeah, you can use any object that you want. So now let's just delete Suzanne. Poor Suzanne. Okay, let's let this one and mountains. All right. All right. So, and now actually also activate the negative part. And now we could just see how to animate these mountains to make this look a little cool. So here in the frame number 1, let's activate this. All right. So as we move something, it will save a key automatically. So let's put it here, like in the border. And now let's go, I don't know, to the frame 100 and move it completely. Like this, for example. All right. Now we can go to 110 to give a little pause there, and maybe right, I should keep it here. So just insert a key here with I in the keyboard, lock rod scale. And now let's go ahead to something like this, because this will be an easier movement, and something like this, for example. All right, now another little pause, lock rod scale. And here, for example, I could press dot in the keyboard to move everything from the 3D cursor and rotate it with R and Z. Something like that. Okay. So let's see how this looks. Okay, if we press 1 in the keyboard, not in the numpad, in the keyboard, normal keyboard, we will show that layers. All right. If we press Shift and 2, for example, I add that to the selection. So in this case, I only want to see the layer 1. I press N, and I want to watch this only render. All right. And here we have the cube, the original one. Probably we can hide it. No, we can't hide it. So I'll look into that later. For now, let's see how this looks. Okay, so as you can see, the animation and the cubes are working perfectly. There we go. Now the rotation. Okay. All right, so now, yeah, we have this cube here, but there's nothing to worry about because when we render, this object that we are duplicating in the vertices of the other mesh and the other mesh itself won't be shown at all because Blender knows that this is only for having something to duplicate here, so it won't show it up. Let's press N so I can deactivate here only render and keep working. And now as we have some parts where this is happening, what I want is to go here and select the bottom parts. If you press dot in the numpad, this is what happens, right? It focuses the view in the selection we have. And I can move this a lot to the down. So it happens something like this. All right. There we go. Okay, so everything is fine. Now just save this. And the next step I'm going to do is to actually add materials to the scene. So I just need to pick this cube, all right, and add a material to it. Let's actually go to Cycles Render, apply material. This will be the metal, okay. And I'm actually go ahead and create a mix shader. One of them will be a diffuse and the other one will be an anisotropic. Let's see how this looks like. Cycles render, okay, so let's go here into the rendered mode and actually let's go here and pick GPU, right? So it goes a little faster. So this is what it's looking right now. So it's not bad, but it's not exactly what I want. So I can just pick the lamp, and the lamp, I will turn it into a sun. There we go. So now it's affecting the whole scene. And this sun will actually have a little orange tone. Now this, we need to select the cube. Let's see what it is. This one probably. Where are you? Plane, okay, is this one, this cube. So this material, let's try to increase or decrease the values here. For example, the anisotropic, all right, if we increase the roughness, how it looks like. Right, so something like that can be okay. And now instead of that, let's increase this so it has more anisotropic. So this is completely anisotropic, and this would be completely diffuse. All right, so let's put it in something in the middle, and let's go ahead and in the world, Let's apply here use nodes, and in color, let's pick sky texture. All right. So now we can move this to get a different time of the day. All right, something like that. Let's see, like this, maybe. Okay, I kind of like this one, and let's decrease the strength. Okay, I kind of like this one. Okay, so now let's select the cube again. Let's try again with another value of anisotropic, how the full anisotropic looks like. So this would be like completely metallic, reflecting the background. So I don't want that. So with this, what I want with this, what I achieve is to get just a little of pink, magenta color to the thing. So it's something that I like to, I don't know exactly why, but I thought it was going to look cool with that color. And here we can pick the color of the anisotropic metal itself. Let's try with some different colors to see how it looks like better. And I think this one is the one that looks most natural to me. What do you think? Well, I don't expect you to to answer me while I'm recording, but well, it's just, I'm talking to myself, don't worry. Okay, so now I just need to set the camera. All right. There we go, something like this. And okay. Let's save this. Move the camera a little more. I'm moving the camera with Shift F in the fly mode. Right, we could also just rotate it. Okay, and now we can probably even go ahead, select the camera, and just play a little with the defocus effect. Like, okay, we have this. We can just select, for example, the plane as the Alright, so now only the part in the middle is being focused. Let's put this like 0.3, for example. See what happens. So only that part is being focused. Okay, like 0.1, so it's quite subtle. Right, so we have some defocus around here, but it's mainly focused. All right. So now we have this. Let's set up the render layers. So the render layers will be metal. And let's activate, for example, this will only render this layer here. All right. And let's see the passes that I want. I want the glossy, direct, indirect, and color. And that's it. Okay. So let's save this. Let's take a render and see how it looks like. All right, this is the combined, direct, indirect, glossy color. All right, combined and depth. All right, so let's go ahead to the render, and now let's pick out here in the sampling. Let's increase the samples like something maybe like 100, and also activate the transparent background to see what we get now. Okay, and it's looking pretty nice. It's looking pretty nice. Okay, now let's go ahead again to this one and take as well the environment one. And here in the performance, let's use 200 56. I'm sure it's gonna be faster because with GPU, you know, they recommend to try out several of these values until you get the one that a power of 2 value, like 256 or maybe 128, until you get the one that works better with your graphics card. And I just tried, and this is the one that works better with my graphics card. It's like a lot faster. So let's see what we have here. Right, this is the environment. And okay, I think with this we have everything we need to start with the compositing stage. So instead, I'm going to use the right size for the render. Let's render it again, so we can start with the compositing stage. Come on, Blender. All right, so let's save this again. Let's go now here to the node editor, activate use nodes, use the backdrop, and just press N to hide that one. Here we are. All right, now we need to go ahead, select a mix, and I want what's going on here? All right, so we want this right here, and we activate the alpha, right? So we can see the background here. And now I select the environment to put right there. Now, what I want to do with this, I will probably do it later, is to correct the colors of this stuff. But before, I'm going ahead and pick this one there, and with Control, Shift, and left click, we can, keep watching these ones. And this is one that looks, yeah, glossy direct is the one that looks better for me to create the brightness. Okay, which is this one. So let's put it on add mode, and factor is 1. But now let's actually go here, apply a filter, and apply a blur filter. Let's see how much I want to blur it. Okay, something like that, not much. Okay, so here you can see the difference. Okay, we are just picking this one. And actually, I want to go ahead with the RGB curves, apply them here, and add more contrast to this image. So we only get some brightness there. So the difference now is more dramatic in this area. All right, so we have that brightness. Now, Shift A, color, RGB curves, and I'm going to apply an RGB curves to the background. So let's make it more darker. Increase the red color of it. Increase the blue color of it. Let's play with the green a little bit. And I still want to make it quite darker. Okay, add more contrast. Right, something like that. Later I will tweak it. Okay, so we have this. Now we have everything working together. Now the next stop is probably to add color correction to all the scene completed. So something like this would be nice, where the bright part are really bright and these are not so bright. Now let's play with the blue color a little. Increase also the red. Decrease it. Okay, this is more. I think with less red it looks better, but Just a little bit. Okay, there we go. A little more contrast, probably. No, let it be like that. Okay, now I'm gonna add, let's go here to filter, and let's add like, distort, lens distortion. Apply a little bit, apply fit. With V and Alt V, we can zoom in and out in this view. So here you can see how there is a distortion in the camera and also increase dispersion, but not so much, like 0.05, right? Something very slight, even less, like 3 here. All right, something like that. Let's even try distortion in the other way around. No, I prefer this one. Okay, so we have this, and now we are going to add a vignette effect. So let's add a mix. Let's go ahead and matte X to delete, matte ellipse mask. Let's put it right here. Let's just try. Let's put a black color. And now just play here with the width and height of the mask. Something like that. And now Shift A, filter, blur, and blur this like 2020. Let's see how it looks like. Well, 200 and 200. Even more, I think. 300 and 300. All right. And here with this, we can play with the rest of the scene. All right. Let's actually go and decrease a little the red color of the background. Something like this, I think it looks better. There we go. See what happens if we increase the blue color. Not good. Decrease it a little. All right, let it be like this. Okay. So now we have the composite. We can press Control and cut it. Just plug it this here. And right now we could already render our scene. So the point is, I actually just pretended, this is amazing. I just pretended to show you the 3D part of it, but finally I just naturally came out to, you know, add materials and render and composite. And I swear you that I didn't, at the beginning, I didn't, it's not that I didn't want, it's just that it wasn't the focus of this tutorial to end with a composite in scene, but well, never mind. you have it already. So yeah, this is well, it's a very basic compositing. We could work a lot more on this, of course, and you know, there is some parts in the borders that I would like to work a lot better. But the point is that you know how to do this effect, and which I think is pretty interesting, and it has a lot of different uses that you can come with. So yeah, let's do some crazy stuff with it and let me know what you do. Now, I forgot to deactivate this, and it's dangerous to keep working with this activated because sometimes it can mess around with nodes and with stuff, because Blender acts like if we were animating them, right? So it's kind of dangerous. It doesn't matter because I just was working on the compositing in one single frame. I didn't move the frame, but if I moved it, it could be dangerous, because then there would be animations between the values of the RGB curves and all that, and once we render the animation, the colors will start to flow, and it's not what we wanted. So well, I hope you like this even more than the movie. Well, I didn't dislike completely the movie actually, but yeah, I need to tell that yeah, probably they could come up with something a lot better, because it had a lot of potential. Since I saw the first trailer, I was amazed by it. And the movie, already the critics didn't speak very well from it. And when I went and watched it, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't really good as well. So, well, at least this effect, I liked it. The effects were pretty cool, and that's why I decided to create a tutorial on how to achieve this effect here in Blender. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon in the next tutorial. Happy blending!